So my name's Zoe. Hello to Bygone Con. I am, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm a local author. I'm based in Blantyre. And my book is about Blantyre. It's called Brae Discovers Blantyre. However, I'm here to have a chat with you about something a bit more broad than just local. So, teaching children through storytelling. So growing up, I learned a lot of local history from my granddad. That's me and my granddad there. But actually in the Blantyre Miners' Welfare in that picture. Well, my granddad actually grew up during World War II. And it was actually fascinating learning about the streets around me from before I even existed. So we got to relate to the stuff I was learning at school with the war. And we got to sort of relate to my interests because I was a bit of a geeky child and I did enjoy talking about history. And that's us at a gala day in High Blantyre Park. So, as I grew older, I did notice that there was a lack of historical information for children. And with that, I mean, there's children that are involved in history and children that love to learn about history, but I haven't seen a lot of local books that are geared towards them, apart from the odd picture books where you can look at photographs from the past. I decided to make some. If you do know me, you know that I do decide to do random projects on the side, and one day I sat down with my family and I said, I think I could make a children's book about Blantyre, and without looking up from their tables they went, okay. And here I am, I've got one out. And this was me speaking to Andrea from the Daily Record. We had a chat about my plans, and really what I was saying in that is that I wanted to teach the kids about where they are on their own level. So, what's Brae Discovers Blantyre? So, Brae Discovers Blantyre is actually Blantyre's first children's book. So there's children's stories and children's books out there that have David Livingstone in them or they mention Blantyre, but this is the first one dedicated to and about the town. The story follows Brae, the stray cat, on a journey of discovery through the past and present of the small town. So we learn about local heritage, we learn about the mines, we learn about David Livingstone's journey, but more importantly we learn about the people. So what I actually did is I went to local groups online, I read books that were already out about the area, and I spoke to people from the time, and I got their perspective on what was going on. So since releasing the book, we've had the pleasure of hosting talks in schools and libraries, and as of this week, on Wednesday, we even spoke on the radio. So I was invited to speak to Camglen Radio about Bygone Con. And about my journey with the book. And this is us in the library doing some book bug sessions, and this is us during book week for High Blantyre Primary. And that's actually my classroom that I sat in and learned in when I was a wee girl. So, what did I learn though? I mean, I could sit here and tell you about my journey making the book because it was absolutely one of the best years of my life, but where did it take me? So, teaching kids through storytelling. Storytelling has always been a conduit for imparting knowledge, so we've always sat and spoke to our kids. Since before records began, Waynes were sitting on their granddad's knees learning about their local history. I mean, my granddad, my dad still tells me stories about his childhood and how Blantyre was before I was even thought about, and shadow puppets are a prime example of how kids can relate to the story from having an actual visual representation. One of the challenges of teaching history to young children is making it relatable and meaningful to them. Storytelling can bridge this gap by bringing the past to life and allowing children to connect with historical figures and events on a personal level. So this was the competition that we ran with the library, and you would get a free book and a free colouring book if you then won the competition. And these kids coloured in Brae in their own colours. When we went to the competition's party, because it ended on the Halloween party for Blantyre Library, about 4 separate children came up to me in my silly Brae costume and says, "Are you Brae the Stray?" I was gobsmacked. So yeah, it definitely gives them someone to connect with instead of just this is the story sort of conversation. So when children are given a character they can relate to, they have a better learning experience. Historical fiction can help children understand the struggles and the moral themes of the past in a way that resonates with them. For example, when we were going to the schools, I actually read the full book, and one part that really resonated with the kids was the mines, because they would have been in the mines if it was back in the day. So they were definitely really passionate about chatting about Brae going down the mines and what kinds of kids would have been down there. It also helps them connect with historical events personally, giving them a deeper understanding. We've all watched Titanic and had a cry, haven't we? And I mean, we don't know anyone that was on the Titanic, but because we had Jack and Rose, we related. And this is some children, local children, Hamilton and Blantyre locals having a read at the book, which I found really exciting when I got them in. And this is me again when we did book week. We got to go in the paper again. So there's a wee snippet from it that says, pupils of High Blantyre Primary were given a history lesson on their hometown by a local children's author as part of their book week programme. And this was every single class in the school got to have a chat about Brae with us, a chat about Blantyre history, and every single one of them gave me like a different page that they could connect to because it's all over the area. So storytelling is already being used to educate young people throughout Scotland as well. For example, there's various organisations that provide educational tours, books and classes where they can learn about Scottish history while connecting them to tales and folklore. So there's folks who will go out to like the Highlands and up in Bygone and they'll connect stories of kelpies to the water around them, and they'll talk about fairies and maybe even up in like areas like Skye when they go on these trips that I've seen. They'll talk about the fairy pools and what the history behind it was. It's been shown to enhance educational experiences and it helps the children understand the world around them. It gets them kind of hands-on instead of just looking at it. Learning about local history is vital to keeping the local community alive. Without this education, stories from the past and the people who lived through it will fade from memory. So to give you a bit of context to why this background's here, I understand obviously it's a community of people, but if it wasn't for that community of people, this page in the book wouldn't be there, because I posted asking everybody's favourite sort of memories of Blantyre and what sticks out to them. And so many people said the cherry blossoms on Main Street, like on Glasgow Road, when you go up and you see the church and you see the cherry blossoms and you can walk under it and they're flowing through the wind. It was a memory for people from even my age to a lot older than me. It's easy to talk about it though, but how do we do this? How do we connect children to local history through storytelling? I mean, we can tell stories that we know already. Everybody has the favourite memory of sitting on so-and-so's knee in their living room and talking about it. We can take the wains to local heritage sites, there's plenty of them. Also the local parks, they'll have lots of local history in there too. Read local history books. This library in Blantyre Library currently have a section dedicated to local history. And that's not just Blantyre, it's Blantyre, Campus Line, Hamilton, Rutherglen, all over the place. But then there's pages on social media. I mean, Brae's on social media, of course, we're there. But if you're more concerned about your local history to where you are, just literally type in history Hamilton, history Rutherglen, history Blantyre, and you'll get so many pages run by volunteers. Anyway, let's talk about it. Who here has any questions about Brae, about local history, about our visits to schools?